Alolan Dugtrio, a Pokemon not often seen in the VGC 2017 competitive meta. Now I ask you this, why is that? Why? Why is this Pokemon slept on, underrated, and not used as often as I think it should be used? Now to be honest, I'm kind of glad it's not used often, but at the same time I'm upset that my love, my pride, my joy is not used often enough. So this video is going to be 5 reasons why you, the viewer, should use Alolan Dugtrio at least once on a team for your VGC 2017 battle spot or showdown or whatever it may be. Just give him a shot. These are 5 reasons why. Number 5, the typing. He is ground and steel. Yes! Before I say anything else, he is a wannabe Excadrill. Alright? He doesn't have the power or the speed that Excadrill has. I mean, he doesn't have the power that Excadrill does. But he has the speed. And that comes into play very much so in the VGC 2017 meta. So first of all, being ground and steel type, you get access to 2 great moves. You get Iron Head, you get EQ. They're both stab, they're both phenomenal, they both do great things. Iron Head, 30% chance to flinch, it's stab, it's doing a lot of damage, it's a great move to have. EQ, it does spread damage, it's hitting everybody in the field except for the Dugtrio. Now, obviously you gotta play safe, so you hurt your own Mon, but optimally you want to hit both of your opponent's Pokemon and do as much damage as possible. That is the goal with EQ and having spread damage in general. Yes, EQ gets split in half damage-wise in VGC, or maybe it's in 3s. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Either way, EQ is a great move, regardless of how little or how much it gets reduced in doubles as opposed to singles. Now, being the ground steel typing as well, you resist fairy, you're immune to electricity, and you are now neutral to ice and grass instead of being weak to ice and grass when you gain that steel typing. Now, those are some pretty common moves I feel, in my opinion, in the VGC meta as of right now. Grass not so much, as blue sees less and less usage as time goes on. According to the February month end stats, Tapu Bulu is going down in usage, and if you guys want to see, I'm gonna have a little picture go live in a little bit for you guys, showing the usage data for February. But then we'll see what it is in March. But regardless, we see those grass type going down. But you see a good amount of fairy seeds, some Dazzling Gleams, you see some Moonblast from Finnies, you see some D-Gleams from Cocos, you see D-Gleam from I don't know, other Pokemon as well. You got a lot of electricity from the Cocos, Magnazones, and you also resist Dragon, which is good against Garchomps, but it does have EQ. You gotta watch out for that. But overall, it's not the best typing. It's not the worst typing. What the point of thing is having stab Iron Head and stab EQ. Yes, resisting the fairy is nice. Yes, being immune to electricity is nice, and being neutral to ice and grass is nice as well. But the key thing here is having stab, EQ, and Iron Head, and that is point number 5. Number 4, being a 110 base speed mon. That is pretty damn huge for the reason I'll give you in a bit. As we know, the trio went from 120 to 110 speed when the Alola, as Gen 7 came out, as the Alola region came out. Now, where did those 10 points go? That went to your defense stat. You got 10 more points in your defense. So you went from 50 to 60 defense and 120 speed to 110. Now, yes, that hurts, but not as bad as you think. For me personally, I always run an adamant max speed, max attack, 4 HP Dugtrio. Why is that? Well, being max speed with 110 base speed with an adamant nature, that allows you to outspeed any 95 jolly or timid base speed Pokemon and below, obviously. So what's important about that? Well, you're going to outspeed Arcanine by 1 point. That is huge. Arcanine basically OHKOs you with Flare Blitz, Flamethrower, or into any fire attack Arcanine wants to use on you. You will be devastated. But the good news is you outspeed him by 1 point, and that EQ is going to do a lot of damage to him. Tapu Lele, if that thing is not scarfed, it will die to Iron Head. But you must have the stand up, and we'll get to that in a bit. Being base 110 allows Adamant Dugtrio to have a 10% boost in the attack stat instead of the speed stat, and still outspeed key mons like Arcanine and Tapu Lele. And of course, if you put this Pokemon on a team with Tailwind, it's going to be a little monster that could put in a lot of work. So be wary of its speed stat, guys. Having 110 base speed. Yes, it's a nerf, but not as bad as you think, because you still outspeed things like Arcanine and Tapu Lele. Unfortunately, if you're running the Adamant Nature, you're not outspeeding Garchomp, but Garchomp, you don't want to be against a Garchomp anyway. And, yeah, that is it, my friends. We'll get more in depth to that in a little bit, possibly. But with that being said, that brings on my next point. Point number 3. Alolan Dugtrio's ability. Not Tangling Hair, doesn't get Arena Trap anymore, but it does now have access to Sand Force. Now, what does that mean? That means a 33% boost in power to both your Iron Head and your EQ. Granted, you can run Rock Slide and get a 33% boost in that as well, because Sand Force boosts ground, steel, and rock type attacks by 33% in damage, but I don't like running Rock Slide on the trio, and I will get to that in a bit. But right now, Sand Force is huge, but you're saying, Nips, he doesn't get Sandstorm, and that is why him being paired with Gigalith is so phenomenal. As you guys can see right now, Gigalith is the 11th most used Mon in all of the VGC meta. And of course, he has that ability, Sandstream, to guarantee the sand being up for you. And him being so slow almost guarantees you have the weather up before any other weather outside of Torkoal, because Gigalith is so damn slow. Now, I'm not sure if Gigalith speed ties with Torkoal. I think Torkoal is a little bit slower, but regardless, you're getting your weather up before hail and rain, which is friggin' huge. Alright, now Gigalith, being the rock type, also boosts special defense by 50% in the sand, which is phenomenal, because you want to be bulky as possible to support your Dugtrio partner. Dugtrio and Gigalith go hand in hand in this format. Gigalith gets Y-Guard to protect himself from EQs. And like I said, he gives Dugtrio that 33% boost in power, which now allows you to OHKO the Tapu Lele that you have to be employed now. That allows you to almost OHKO Arcanine in one shot. Arcanine, if it intimidates you, you will do a max of 70% damage roughly to Arcanine, alright? You're not going to kill it, but that is through Intimidate, guys. That is through Intimidate. That is max HP, max attack Arcanine. With Intimidate, you will do 61 to 74%, I'm sorry, 74% damage, even better, to Arcanine through Intimidate, alright? And if Intimidate is already off, you switch into the sand that's already up for you, you will OHKO Arcanine. 63% chance to OHKO Arcanine if the Intimidate is not going off. And if you do like literally 15 damage to if you hurt Arcanine just a little bit, just a little nibble of damage to him, you will OHKO Arcanine in one shot with that EQ. Ironhead, like I said, kills Lily. Ironhead is not going to kill Bulu. You need to do 40 damage to a max HP Tapu Bulu for Ironhead to OHKO it in the sand. For Muck, this is huge. Guys, you gotta understand how annoying Muck is in this meta. What you want to do to Muck is basically 10 to 30% damage, or maybe obviously 10 to 49% damage, so it doesn't trigger that Thiggy Barrier with the Gluttony. What you want to do is just OHKO it, or basically 49% damage at most. With Sand being up, if you do 20 damage to Muck before Dugtrio comes in, you will OHKO Muck with EQ in the sand. Basically, 2 turns of sand before Dugtrio comes in, or like literally hit it with anything that doesn't do more than 49% damage to it, and you will kill that Muck in one shot, and not have to worry about that Figure Berry. Also, knockoff, you don't really care about it that much because you're frail as hell, and you're immune to Poison Jab, which is phenomenal. Alright? I should have said that earlier, but you are immune to Poison Jab, or poison in general. So, with the sand being up, do a little damage to Muck, a little damage to Bulu, you're going to OHKO those two mons with Ironhead or EQ. And of course, with sand being up, you get the 30% boost in damage, and don't forget your chance to flinch mons. Even against Tapu Fini, guys, if you have luck and you're ironing that thing in the sand, you're going to 3-shot it at the lefties and sand damage, because sand negates the lefty recovery, blah, 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 so on and so forth. It takes 3 attacks to OHKO a Fini, alright? And if you get a look at the flinches, boom, phenomenal, great. Tapu Koko, gone to EQ, don't even care about it. Lay, like I said, gone to Ironhead. Bulu, gone to Ironhead if you do damage to it. And Fini's a 3-shot, or you can run Fissure like myself. But we'll get to that. And that is basically point number 3 in a nutshell. Not really a nutshell, but explained in simplest terms, but in depth as possible, if you will. Number 2, Focus Sash. Now, this is a pretty mediocre point number 2, but hear me out, guys. Having a Focus Sash on Dugtrio guarantees you 2 turns of play if you outspeed everything else on the field, which is very likely. Being 110 base speed, Enema Nature, the only things that are outspeeding you are things like Garchomp, Ninetales, Kartana, Nihilego, which doesn't want to be in against you anyway, because you destroy Nihilego every day of the friggin' week with Alolan Dugtrio. Barring like Hidden Power Ground or some random stuff like that. But what else? What else is fast in this meta? I guess Aerodactyl, which you don't really care about too much, besides EQ if it has it. Weavile, which is very rare. Coco, which you don't care about. Like, the things that outspeed you, the only real threats that outspeed you are like the Garchomp, for the most part. And that's all I can really think of right now. Maybe Kartana as well. I think Kartana as well, because you can't really hurt it that much. But he can't do much to you either besides take a sword. But either way, well, he can because we did Sash. But either way, having 2 turns of damage or pressure on the field with a trio, and knowing you're gonna live, and nothing could break that Sash weather-wise except for hail. If there is no hail on the field, you are fine. That Sash is almost guaranteed, as long as you don't switch into attack or whatever. If he's just sitting on the field, play it safe, you are guaranteed 2 turns of play, and that could be devastating. Those Ironhead flinches, those EQ spread damage, just having 2 turns of a fast mon with pressure, the chance to flinch, and a lot of chance to OHKO is freaking phenomenal. And did I say this yet? I might not say this yet. I know for a fact, out of the 20 most used Pokemon in the VGC 20 meta right now, Alolan Dugtrio does over half or OHKOs them. Alright? There's going to be a little graphic for you guys right now. When that is done, we got point number 1. We got this right here, baby. Watch the Fissure work its magic.
Under the sun, the bastard son will pop the clock to feed himself and family. By any means, your enemies, my enemies, we wet them up like a canteen.
And with that being said and done, folks, that is 5 reasons why you should use Alolan Dugtrio. Of course, number 1 was more of a fun thing. Like I said, guys, I like running Fissure over Rock Slide because Rock Slide doesn't really kill anything or do damage to anything. And the chance of you getting a Rock Slide flinch is the same chance of you getting a Fissure. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just saying. That is that, guys. If you enjoyed this video, show some love to the like button down below. And don't forget to subscribe as well so you don't miss out on any competitive content on this channel, guys. Thank you for watching. Please give Alolan Dugtrio a shot on your team, guys. It is a phenomenal mon. And with that being said, guys, as always, I am Mr. Talent. Have a great day, Talent Squad. And I'll catch you next time.